All right. We're back. We are back. And I wanted to talk about this story, Brianna, that's kind of interesting. Brianna Aguilera. I mentioned this story. I did a segment on this on one of my live streams, but it wasn't a dedicated live. And so I posted it to my IckedMel Clips channel. So if you want to see that, just go to IckedMel Clips. I will give you a timeline and go over some of the details. It's kind of a weird, interesting story and sad story. So Brianna on Thursday, November 27, 2025, and we're going to play a press conference, by the way, with, Buzbee, the attorney, which Buzbee is like a very notorious attorney. I think he's represented Diddy victims as well. Bunch of controversy behind that, but there's a press conference with him and, the Brianna's mother. We're going to take a look at that. But on November 27th, Thursday, Brianna spends Thanksgiving with in Laredo with her family. Family says she was happy and had future plans. Okay. Friday, November 28th, she travels to Austin reportedly for a tailgate party tied to Texas A&M, a game. Family says she didn't go to the game by herself, but she didn't go to the game itself, only the tailgate. She was just there to have fun. Friday night, communication cut off. Her mother says that her phone went to did not disturb and contact ended around 6 p.m. Family says that's unusual behavior for her. Late Friday night after the tailgate, Brianna arrives at a high-rise apartment building 21 Rio Apartments, student housing near the UT Austin. Police later say that surveillance captured arrival just after 11 p.m. Around 12:43 to 12:44 a.m. Saturday, November 29th, phone call between Brianna borrowing someone else's phone because her phone was like found in the woods. But people were saying she was drunk, she was turned up, she was like stumbling and dropping her phone. So she borrowed somebody else's phone supposedly, and she calls her boyfriend and they're reportedly arguing. Family disputes and say she lost her phone earlier. Mother later questions whether that call even happened. At 12:46, a 911 call comes from a first responder to arrive at the 21 Rio Apartments. Reportedly a passerby, not one of her friends. At 12:56 or 12:57, Brianna is pronounced dead at the scene. Police say she fell from the 17th floor. And police say the trauma was consistent with a fall from a high tower or high floor. Okay. On December 1st, 2025, in the afternoon, the family was notified some 15 hours that her body was found. It's kind of crazy. Long time. Family says there were 15 people in the apartment that night. Claims investigation lacked transparency. So the police department, the Austin Police Department, they're saying it was an unaliving, that she offed herself. The family doesn't believe that, but police revealed, and I think it was yesterday, police revealed that she had written a suicide note and then deleted it. Previously, I think it was previously. I gotta find a timeline for that. We covered it in the first video. Yeah, they cite a deleted digital. So that deleted digital suicide note was November 25th. So this was before the day she had reportedly, supposedly jumped. So she wrote out a message and then she deleted it. I don't understand why she jumped off, if she jumped off, why she jumped off this time without a note, because it seemed they had said that she had these types of thoughts before, and supposedly she had told friends. That's what police said. And so it seemed like she had the forethought to write a note and leave some type of message previously on November 25th, but then deleted it. And then the night she jumps off, she leaves no note. I don't know if because she was so drunk that she just, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's hard to put yourself in somebody's mind that's going through something like that, I guess, unless you've maybe been through it yourself. But the police say there's no signs of foul play, no evidence of a crime, and that witnesses have been cooperative. The family disagrees, and so we're going to watch now Buzbee, law firm, Tony Buzbee, they're holding a press conference. I paused it. I started it over from the beginning so we could watch it. Let's take a look and see.
Cause of death, detective.
Wow. Oh, shit. What did he say? Hold on.
Authority. Detective. To determine cause of death. Detective. That's your job.
Let's see. This one starts. It started like the way it started. It was in the middle of him talking. So
That's irresponsible.
I guess that's here. Let's do this.
Now it's my job. The public dissemination of information by the Austin Police Department during an investigation, the way it was done yesterday, is unethical, unprofessional, and incredibly damaging to an objective, unbiased investigation. And it's also damaging to the memory of this child. All this family is asking for is a thorough, complete, unbiased, open-minded investigation. That's all they're asking for. That's what any parent would ask for whose child went to college, went to a game, lost her for several hours, and then find out hours and hours later that she supposedly jumped off a balcony. And with just a few questions, a few pointed questions, quickly figure out that these investigators, this so-called investigator, did not know what he was talking about. We're going to get into that. You can't close a case before you even have the cause of death from the medical examiner. Period. Full stop. You don't have that right. You don't have that authority. We have to get this right. This is not just for this family. This is for any family. You have to get this right. You can't close a book in the middle of reading a chapter and say that that's closed and it's over. That's not how it works. You can't misclassify a death like this. When you misclassify a death, you're planting a lie in the soil where truth should grow. And as I said, to her credit, Stephanie Rodriguez was very close to her daughter, very close. Talked to her daily. Knew everything that she was up to, everything that she was doing. The very first interaction she had with the detective from the Austin Police Department, he told her, your daughter committed suicide. The very first reaction, the very first interaction. At that point, he hadn't talked to one witness, he hadn't seen her phone, he hadn't done anything. That's sloppy and irresponsible. He claims she made suicidal comments. He told us in the Zoom call, she made suicidal comments. You know what he was talking about? The other day, when I was talking to a friend the other day, I said, man, you're going to make me jump off a bridge. That's what he's talking about. Silliness like that. He later claimed she was making those kinds of statements on the day or the night that she died. If that's the case, why did her friends leave her out on the balcony by herself? If that's true, because it's not true. None of the things that we've been told by the Austin Police Department are consistent with the actual facts that we've learned. The detective was talking about suicide before he was ever given her phone. Then he gets into her phone and he sees an essay that she wrote and he calls it a suicide note. She took creative writing the semester before. Now, I don't know what the purpose of that. We'll never know what the purpose of what she wrote and deleted. But this is the suggestion was that she left a, quote, suicide note. Total malarkey. Total malarkey. It was something she wrote on the 25th. She talked to her mother on the 25th. She was with her boyfriend on the night of the 25th. She was talking to her mother every single day after that. We see pictures of her smiling. We see pictures of her having fun. We see pictures of her partying. Total baloney, what they're trying to sell to you. And why? Am I suggesting that there's some kind of conspiracy? No, I'm suggesting they're lazy and they're incompetent.
Yeah.
Just so I'm clear. I'm not suggesting any sort of conspiracy that there's some kind of somebody in power that wants this to go. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that there's incompetence and laziness on the part of the detective. That's what I'm suggesting. The suggestion they've made is she wrote an essay, because it's not a note. She wrote an essay on the 25th that she deleted. And then she goes and kills herself 5 days later, 4 days later. This is their logic. It's really ridiculous. So, a few things they didn't bother to even explain. I don't even know what they did, honestly. I know what we've done. We sent someone to the apartment. We had someone take the dimensions of the apartment. We had somebody measure the railing and the height of the railing. We know how tall Brianna was. She was 5'2". The railing's 44 inches. You don't fall over it. There's no furniture out in the balcony. There's nothing to climb up on, to jump off. Anyone that's on that little balcony, it's literally as big as this. It's a little bitty old balcony. And there's a window just like that you can see onto the balcony. The apartment is like a dorm. It's very small. There's no way you can be in that apartment and hide. If you're in the apartment, people know you're in the apartment. It's a little small apartment. No offense to the apartment complex, but that's what it is. It's like a little double-room dorm with a small balcony with no furniture. These are easy things to find out. Things that you would say, wait a minute, you're saying that this young lady was out on the balcony and she was 5'2", she had to somehow climb over the railing to try to kill herself? Then certainly you guys could see that. Certainly you knew that was happening. How could that possibly be? It doesn't make any sense because it didn't happen that way. She was 100 pounds, 5'2". There's no way she could fall over that railing accidentally. There's no way to be on the balcony and you be inside and not know somebody's on the balcony. It's not possible. It's almost impossible to be inside the apartment and not know somebody's in the apartment with you, even though there's 2 little bedrooms. This is called common sense. I'll tell you what's most concerning. They didn't explore the fight that Brianna apparently had with somebody at the tailgate at the Austin Rugby Club. I think she went to, what was the name of the tailgate that they had there? Some student organization.
Latin Economic Business Development.
Latin Economic Business Development tailgate at the Austin Rugby Club. There was an altercation between her and another female. No investigation of that. Turns out that other female was in the apartment with her that night. There was a witness between 12:30 and 1 a.m. who posted on TikTok. Many of you have seen it. Young man posted on TikTok that he could hear up above at around the 17th floor in that general area fighting, screaming.
I think I saw the video from that guy. He was really hard to follow because it was like 2 or 3 parts to the story. It was just really kind of long. Maybe at the end of this, we'll see if we can watch it.
Somebody saying, "Get off of me!" And then a muffled sound. He posted it, got many, many views. You can get on TikTok and look at it now. We talked to him this morning. You guess what? Here's the irony. Or maybe here's the tragedy. The police didn't bother to talk to him. Now, why wouldn't they talk to him? He had incredibly specific information about what he heard. He could hear it loud enough. He could hear the words that were spoken. "Get off of me," and screaming. And then a muffled cry between 12:30 and 1 p.m. right next to the apartment. We had an expert say, wait a minute, could he hear that? We had to engage an expert to say, is it possible that he could actually hear that? The expert said, absolutely. Absolutely could hear that. It makes a lot of sense. Never talked to by the police. We have a witness who was in the apartment across from the apartment where this apparently occurred, who could hear running back and forth and screaming. And then she said, I could tell something bad had happened. Did y'all know this? Ridiculous. Her entire family was in the apartment. The police could have talked to her and several other people. They failed to look into the anonymous message that was sent. There was an anonymous message that was posted that said, hey, I have specific information that this young lady was locked out on the balcony. Did you know that? It's not part of the investigation. Why is it not part of the investigation? Because they made their decision literally within minutes. Within minutes. Now here's where it gets a little dicey, and here's where I'm having it, and I want to be very careful because I don't want to be accusing anybody, because I'm not accusing anybody other than the APD, the Austin Police Department, not doing its job. At first we were told that she jumped from the balcony and the three young women that were in the apartment, and we're talking about, as I said, a tiny little apartment, were asleep and didn't know where she was. That's what we were told first. That they were asleep. They didn't even know she was on the balcony. They didn't know where she was, and that's the reason why they didn't call the police until 12:15 the next day. That's what we were told. That's part of the cops' timeline. Okay? Put up the timeline, Ryan. They said, according to the plot, we haven't talked to them, who were in the apartment, 3 of them, one of which was the lessor or the lessee of the apartment, who vacated the apartment the very next day and never went back. Did you know that?
Yeah, they mentioned
this is the timeline that the police gave us yesterday. This is the timeline. And if you can't look at that timeline and 1 second point out the problem of that timeline, then you're not doing your job.
Okay, let's take a look and see. Let me back it up a little bit.
That timeline and 1 second point out the problem of that timeline, then you're not doing your job. We'll get to it.
So witness told police Aguilera borrowed her friend's phone to call her out-of-town boyfriend with whom she was heard arguing. Call logs confirmed the 1-minute call lasted from 12:43 to 12:44. 12:46, officers responded to a 911 call and found Aguilera's body. 6 a.m., detectives contacted an employee at the 211 Rio Grande Apartments. Police say staff cooperated with the investigation. At 10 a.m., investigators accessed security footage following the hallway of the apartment. 12:14, friends called 911 to report Aguilera missing. 12:50, this is PM the next day, Aguilera's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, contacted police to help locate her. 2 p.m., Rodriguez informed police Aguilera's phone had been located. At 3:30 p.m., officers found Aguilera's phone in a wooded area near Walnut Creek. Okay.
So at first we're told that the 3 women didn't know where she was and they were asleep. That's what we were told. And that they didn't know where she was, they were looking for her, and they were texting her mom, and it wasn't, and they decided about 12:14 the next day, 6 hours later almost, that they decided at that point they couldn't find her, so they were going to call the police. This is what we were told by the Austin Police Department. Lay aside what was heard happening at about 12:30 to 1 o'clock that night. Lay aside what the witness across the hall said. Lay aside what the man down on the street said. Just disregard all that. This is what the police say. It must be right, according to them, because they did such a thorough investigation. This is what they gave us. Not one of you have asked a question about it. Not one of you. But this is what they said. Her friends called the police at 12:14 the next day because they didn't know where she was. They hadn't seen her. They thought maybe she had went out. That's what they said. Keep that in your mind. When I asked the police that, like, wait a minute, how is that possible? How is that possible? A whole group of 14 or so people came into the apartment that night after they'd been out partying. They got there about 11 or so. Everybody left. Right? That's what they say. And it left just 4 girls there, 4 young women. Right? And the 4 young women, 3 of them didn't call the police till 12 o'clock the next day because they didn't know where she was. That's what the police say. Lay aside what the witnesses have said about that, and lay aside the fact that that's a really small apartment. It's hard to get lost in that little small apartment. I want you to look very carefully. The first entry on the timeline. According to the police, let me walk over there. Brianna did not have her phone. She didn't have her phone, so she had to call. To make a call, according to the police, she borrowed her friend's phone, meaning one of the three women that was in the apartment. Now look at this very carefully. According to the police, she borrowed her friend's phone and made a call from 12:43, and it lasted 1 minute. At 12:46, 2 minutes later, the police were responding to a 911 call because she was outside on the ground. Now do the math. So you're probably thinking, well, she must have, she hung up her friend's phone and she just jumped. She hung up the phone and she dropped it on the balcony and she jumped. First question you should have is, where's the phone? What did she do with the phone?
That's true.
I asked the police that 3 different times. 3 times. They sidestepped me every time until this morning. They sidestepped me because they hadn't thought about it.
That is true. I mean, when I'm looking up as far as the timeline, it's kind of crazy. As far as like the Austin police timeline, I don't know. You know, they say here around 12:43 a.m. phone call with a boyfriend out of town. They're saying out of town boyfriend, and she had to borrow somebody else's phone to make that call. Supposedly there was an argument, and then right after 2-3 minutes or whatever, she leaves the balcony. Fall occurs or jumps off the balcony supposedly. But some people get into an argument with their significant other, and they lose it. I remember there was some lady. There was a lady that drove her car, crashed it on purpose, driving really fast, and I think some dude did the same thing. I'm not saying she did that, but wanting to crash and kill the girlfriend, all this kind of stuff.
Because they rushed to judgment. They finally answered the question this morning, and you know what they said to me this morning? And they said it, and they didn't even realize what they were telling me. Because they're so sloppy.
Wow. Woo. He's coming with fire, though, man. He's coming hard.
I made him put it in writing. I have it here. I'll read it to you. Austin Police Department did not find the phone on Miss Aguilera. Miss Aguilera returned the phone to its owner before she was seen going onto the balcony. Now, how is that possible? That is 180 degrees different than what you told us previous. That is absolutely contrary to what you told us previous. Previous, you said the 3 women were asleep. You said they didn't know where she went. But then when I asked the one question over and over and you had to answer it, then all of a sudden we realized if she did in fact use her friend's phone like they claim, if she did in fact use it for 1 minute and was found already 2 minutes later by a passerby and the police were already responding to a 911 call, think about that, what the ramifications of that are. That whoever phone she was using was standing right next to her as she went over the balcony, if she went over the balcony. Now you're saying to yourselves, well, shoot, there's got to be a reasonable explanation. We should talk to the witnesses. We should investigate. We should figure this out. That's what we're saying. Now you're getting it. You sat there, and with all due respect, you all, I watched it. You all sat there, and you had this corporal, or whatever he is, lead detective, and Mrs. Rodriguez will tell you how he is and her interactions with him in just one moment. But you let him stand at a podium just like this and feed you total baloney. And all you had to do is say, wait a minute, detective, wait a minute. She borrowed somebody's phone. Where is that phone? Maybe she must have went over the railing with it. She had to give somebody. No, according to him, she returned it to its owner before she was seen walking back out to the balcony. Absolutely impossible. very suspicious. We have a problem.
I mean, if I had some situation, he goes hard though. I would want somebody like that representing me, you know,
I have
my
to ask
family.
the detective 3 times the same question. Should I? I shouldn't have to do that. But I did it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And another thing, why would you tell these kids, the boyfriend who Stephanie knows, who's been over to her house, who her daughter has been dating, they're in love, why would you, detective, tell him not to speak to Stephanie Rodriguez? Don't talk to her. What kind of foolishness is that? Just absolute insensitive and inhumane in my view. Before I go any further, I'm getting a little incensed here. Let me introduce to you Stephanie Rodriguez. She wants to read to you a statement, and I hope you'll give her your full attention.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Rodriguez, and I'm the mother of Brianna Aguilera. Brianna was a driven, disciplined, and caring person. She was beautiful. She was a loving daughter, a protective big sister, and a caring granddaughter. A second mom to her 2 younger brothers. Her baby was her little Yorkie, Ava. All of us were her best friend. She made everyone around her feel loved and supported. I considered her my best friend, not just a mother-daughter relationship. We talked every day, and she would tell me everything. I miss her so much. Her brothers miss her too. Her father and grandmother miss her so much, and so do all her friends. Brianna grew up as an all-star cheerleader, an incredible athlete. She was an honor student and a member of the National Honor Society all throughout school. Christmas was her favorite time of year. She loved decorating, baking, and hiding the elf on the shelf for her little brother. Her brothers already miss her so much. Brianna graduated magna cum laude from high school. She was accepted to many colleges, but chose Texas A&M. She was studying political science and criminal justice. She was not like most young girls. She loved writing more than watching TV. Her favorite class at A&M were her creative writing classes. She dreamed of attending law school in New York and wanted to become a criminal defense lawyer. She was so smart and had such a bright future. She dreamt of a life of where she could make a difference. My daughter was not suicidal. I know my daughter better than anyone. We spoke every day. I spoke to her on the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. Even the morning of the 28th, she was not suicidal. To the Austin police, I can deal with you being annoyed each time I called or tried to talk to you. I can deal with how arrogantly you talked down to us each time we talked. I can deal with you telling my daughter's friends not to talk to me like I am some sort of criminal. But I cannot deal with you doing a news conference and saying false things about my child without a thorough investigation. I cannot deal with you jumping to conclusions and not performing an actual investigation. I cannot deal with your failure to do your job. Do your job.
The police, as much as I've always been a supporter of the police, with all due respect to them, do not determine cause of death. That's not their job. Their job, that job, is specifically reserved for the medical examiner's office. If there is no medical examiner in the county, then it's the JP in the county. In Austin, it's the job of the medical examiner to determine cause of death, not Detective Robert Marshall. The medical examiner told us that a rape kit was done and the autopsy will be performed. It'll take us 60 to 90 days.
Oh, wow. They did a rape kit
So that
too?
begs the question, why did Detective Robert Marshall tell us that they had reached their conclusion and that the investigation was complete? Doesn't work that way. How is it that Robert Marshall has determined the cause of this young woman's death? He doesn't have that authority. His job is to question all the witnesses. We've already offered up several. We'll offer up several more for him to do his job. Hopefully a different investigator will be involved. There are many questions about what was done here, about what happened on that night. And it's already going to be incredibly difficult for the Austin Police Department to conduct an objective investigation at this point. And that's because the way that the Austin Police Department has handled this and jumped to conclusions within hours of this tragedy disqualifies the Austin Police Department from further investigation of this matter. So, I'm doing this today. I'm calling on the Austin Police Department to reopen the investigation with a different investigator, to reassign Robert Marshall and put this in the hands of a different investigator. Failing that, I will be calling on the governor to engage the Texas Rangers. We will submit a formal packet to them with all the evidence we have gathered so far, and we will gather. We intend to present 30 to 40 pages of information, statements, and other factual data that they need to do a proper investigation. And here are the questions I hope are answered. Austin Police Department, why would you close your investigation without having all the facts? Why not wait for the autopsy results? Why not wait for the rape kit result? And who would you send it to if you've already made up your mind? Why not question all the witnesses, the ones that we've questioned? The young man who was down on the ground, who heard somebody say, "Get off of me," or the young lady and her family across the hall who heard running, screaming, and, quote, something bad had happened. Why not question them? Why not examine all the phones of the friend group? We asked that question in the Zoom call. You know what we were told? We don't have the power to look at their phones. Hogwash. Hogwash. You have that power, and you need to do it. Why hold a hasty press conference to announce that this young lady had killed herself without even talking to her mother to see what her affect was leading up to the 28th? You heard what she said. She knows her daughter. She knows her daughter more than anyone. Why not talk to the friends immediately? Why wait? Why wait to talk to her friend group? Why not talk to them immediately? Why did you let the owner of the apartment, that is the young woman who was leasing the apartment, vacate the apartment? Literally vacate the apartment and leave town. Why won't the boyfriend talk to us? The boyfriend that was a longtime boyfriend of this young lady and was very friendly with her mother. Why can't we see the texts? Why can't we see the phones? Where is her wallet? Where is Brianna's wallet? It's missing.
Haven't heard that yet.
They didn't tell you that, did they? I see you writing. They didn't tell you that, did you? If you had asked the question, they would have told you that.
Damn,
They
he's
told you
snapping,
what
yo.
they wanted
He's snapping on the police and the reporters there. Going hard.
you to hear. They didn't tell you the complete facts. Her wallet is missing. Why did her friends wait until 12:14 the next day to report her missing? If she had borrowed the phone and returned it the night of, 2 minutes before she jumped her death. Why didn't they examine the balcony? Why didn't they examine the railing?
Police claimed that, like I said earlier, they claimed that there was a suicide note written in her phone earlier in the week. I think it was more specifically on, where I had the timeline here. On the 20th, I don't know. It's gone now. I thought it was the 25th is what I remember. I thought. And then they say supposedly there was also suicidal text sent the evening of her death to friends. So I would really like to see those text messages. If it comes out, whenever it comes out, that'd be really interesting to see. And also what time that was supposedly sent.
Why didn't they see if there was some sort of table there, a chair there that somebody who's 5'2" would have to step on to get over the railing? Why didn't they look for scuff marks? Why didn't they do anything? They didn't even bother to look to whether if somebody did in fact jump off the balcony, whether they would end up in the tree that's 30 some odd foot forward of the apartment. Y'all didn't ask that question either. The laws of physics aren't different in the city of Austin. You realize.
Sorry.
The same laws of physics as exist here in Houston. If, when the phone call came in at 12:46 and the officers responded to the 911 call, if it was so obvious that this young woman had fallen to her death, why was it till 6 o'clock, 5 hours later, that they ever went into the apartment complex? If it was so obvious that that's how she had died. These are the questions you should be asking. At the press conference, you didn't ask any questions. You didn't ask any questions. You just lapped it up like it was cool water and you were very thirsty.
Damn, yo. Wow.
Very disappointing to me.
Damn. Jeez.
So, we have given you a lot of information. We're going to submit a packet. I'm going to call on the governor to... I don't expect, based on the conduct I saw from the police chief of Austin, her defensive manner that she approached the podium yesterday, I don't expect any relief from her. I don't expect she's going to say, King's X, oh, you're right, this was sloppy, it was not thorough, it was kind of embarrassing, we're going to get a different detective to start over. I don't expect that to happen. I expect what's going to happen is I'm going to send a formal letter to the governor asking for the Texas Rangers to be engaged. And I'm going to submit a detailed packet to the governor's office and ultimately to the Texas Rangers to actually do an investigation to figure out what actually happened, because we still don't know. Notice I haven't suggested to you what happened, because I don't know. I'm starting to get a sneaking suspicion. So I've given you a lot of information. So what is your headline? Your headline is this: there are serious and disturbing questions raised with regard to the Austin Police Department's handling of the investigation surrounding the death of Brianna Aguilera. The Texas Rangers have now been called to intervene. Thank you very much. Let's go.
How long are you willing to give APD to reassign an investigator?
That takes 2 minutes. That's what I expect. Let's go. Y'all move your camera, please.
Let's go. He needs a whip, too. Which one of these people? Damn.
Thank y'all.
That's pretty intense. I guess we'll keep following to see what happens. Anything else happen here? No? I want to pull up this article too, just to show some pictures, because they talk a little bit about the boyfriend here. Let's see if we make this work. And you see some pictures of the boyfriend. They said that she posed in pictures with her college sweetheart just weeks before plunging to her death. She was dating 20-year-old Aldo Sanchez, also at Texas A&M University, and from her home border city of Laredo. The snap is all the more poignant as police reveal Aguilera argued with her boyfriend that's kind of wild too. 3 minutes 3 minutes before dying, leaping allegedly to her death, was talking to the boyfriend. But just over a month ago, she was delightedly with Sanchez, clutching a sparkly wand and sporting a shiny crown as she posed as Glinda, a fictional character from the L. Bronze Oz novels. Sanchez, his arm around her, also has a broad smile as he stands in a flamboyant green gold jacket. Her mother, Stephanie, has been battling Austin Police Department, asserting that her daughter's death was not a suicide. Pictures don't mean too much to me, honestly, because, social media doesn't really show anything. You could be having the worst time of your life with somebody, and it's smiles and pictures for social media. This was a Halloween snapshot of happier times. Shows Brianna, who fell to her death. Okay. This is the building. It's her and her mother. That's what the balcony looks like. Balcony's over there. Wouldn't be hard to get over that. I mean, from what I can see here. Embracing each other with two from February 15 and March 2nd. This was August 1st. Sanchez staged a grand romantic ask, sharing a photo. Aguilera beaming over a massive bouquet of red and pink roses beside a dessert plate card dotted with hearts reading, "Will you be my girlfriend?" This was the honeymoon phase from August to October as the couple posed together for A&M football tailgates where they both went to school. I wonder where this is, out-of-town boyfriend. This was in August, I guess. Pictures together. That's the building. Rodriguez told police that her daughter had become intoxicated during the party at the student apartment and had argued with another girl. Hours later, at 12:46 a.m., Saturday, her body was discovered. According to Detective Robert Marshall, Aguilera had been so drunk that she was asked to leave Austin Rugby Club tailgate at 10 p.m. that night. Now, that TikToker guy, let me see. I was trying to follow him. I was listening the other day, and it was really, really hard for me to understand. Maybe somebody that clipped it. Let me see. This lady maybe clipped it. No audio? Something went wrong. Let's try again.
Newly discovered witness.
From what I heard, it sounded like somebody was being taken advantage of, and there was a party going on around her, and like nobody cared. I walk around the corner, I get on Rio Grande, I hear a girl saying, "Get the fuck off me! Get the fuck off of me! Get the..." And then it was like a muffled like scream at the top of her lungs. It was like almost as if, like, you know that sound when like somebody put a pillow or something over your mouth. That's what I heard.
That from Jay Pizzle on TikTok. Have you heard that witness testimony, Ms. Rodriguez?
I actually heard that last night, and so
they always gotta put music on TikTok.
My fiance and I, we actually Googled, and he actually searched up the person, the owner of that apartment. And what's funny is that he says that like she was being covered with a pillow. And those are my daughter's words. Like when she was upset, and she never cursed, but yes, I believe that was her yelling, because we found a picture of the owner of the apartment, and in one of the photos that she has, she does have a patio set, and there's 3 pillows on that couch.
A lot of people are not buying the claim of suicide along with Ms. Rodriguez. What will it take for Austin PD to come to their senses?
It's Jay Pizzle. Let's see what else they said over here.
The claim of suicide along with Ms. Rodriguez. What will it take for Austin PD to come to their senses?
It was ruled a suicide. But there's a lot of people that are obviously asking a lot of questions about what could have happened here, right? I mean, she was there for the game in town, and then all of a sudden, that's the ruling on this. Now, there's a lot of people who have different opinions on what happened. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this story, because we want to know what you think, because it is strange, right? Of course, we don't know for sure, but according to those initial reports, this is what happened. So Aguilera's mom has said on social media she didn't think that her daughter was suicidal or anything like that. So she is very suspicious as well.
Okay, the Jay Pizzle guy. Let me see, it's this page right here. Let me see if he's posted anything else. There's a couple of posts on there. Let me see the latest one.
So if you're trying to figure out what the point of me making this video is, basically what I'm trying to say is when I was walking down Rio Grande and I heard those screams, and I've been in a lot of like kind of messed up situations. I'm just being completely honest with you, and I don't even like showing my face on camera. I don't like talking on camera, none of this. I'm being completely honest with you. Those screams that I heard, it did something to my soul. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like nobody having a good time. It didn't feel like nobody that was just like drunk or just getting in a fight screaming. The scream sounded like someone was forcing their way onto this girl, and maybe she was outnumbered or out strength, or somebody was stronger, and like basically like found a way to like silence her scream. And so I can't 100% say that this is what happened to the girl that ended up passing, and my condolences to her family or whatever. But all I know is this is what around that time of night when I left that bar and when I heard those screams, and then from what I heard the next day, and then the stories came out after, I knew my spirit was just telling me like that could very possibly be that girl that you heard screaming or whatever. Now, when they're saying like she got in a fight or whatever, I don't know, maybe she could have gotten a fight with somebody and she could have been saying, get the fuck off me, because they were trying to break the fight up. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just being objective. But from what I heard, it did not sound like she was like in an altercation with somebody. From what I heard, or I can't even like really say it was her, but from what I heard, it sounded like somebody was being taken advantage of, and there was a party going on around her, and like nobody cared. And that's how close I was to the location where it happened. Nobody cared. Nobody in that whole place where that was happening gave a damn. And it was maybe like 3 dudes and a girl standing outside, and they stopped and was like, what the fuck? And then they laughed it off. And so, yeah, that's how my weekend over the past maybe 4 or 5 days turned out. And so I hope, I'm not talking to the police. I don't talk to the police. That's not something that I do. But I hope y'all can do with this information as you please or whatever. So if you're trying to figure out,
let me see his previous post for that.
So anyway, back where I left off. So yeah, so I rode down there to them with West 6. We go to like one bar.
Well, maybe I should take it back one more. That video's 9 minutes.
So anyway, here's the part 2. Sorry, y'all, I had to get away from.
It was really hard. I tried from part 1. The story was just so all over the place. It's supposedly part 1.
All right, guys. So this is weighing heavy on my heart right now. Trust me, like I got other stuff to worry about, like my family and my mom and stuff like that. So this is not something that I'm just entertaining because I saw it on the internet. But so the night of UT playing the Texas A&M Aggies, I was. Hey, so guys, my name is JP. I just moved here from California around 3 weeks, three weeks and some change ago. And trust me, like California is a very like rich and poor place, but it's worse for people who are struggling because everybody's like in a competition to make the next person look bad so that they don't look bad themselves. Anyway, that's besides the point. The problem that I've had here is like the rudeness and insensitivity right here in Austin, Texas. And
I'm surprised calling from Cali, but I don't know what Austin is like anyway. But
I lived here around 3.5 years ago, and I took much pride in Austin. I always spoke highly of it when I left town, when I went other places, because I had so much success here. And I think over the time that I have been gone, I forgot what made me leave in the first place. So I get back, try to get out, start meeting people, start mingling a little bit, and there's this like
Oh,
very common
Austin is the California,
mentality
Texas.
of like,
oh my God.
if it doesn't have anything to do with me, then like, why are you talking about it? Like type mentality here. And so I do spend a lot of time on West Campus. I do a lot of deliveries. I did get hired at a bar called Cain and Abel's as a door guy, as I was just sitting there having a drink and watching the game. One of the managers approached me and asked me if I wanted a job. So I was like, sure. Like, it was like day 3 of me being here in Austin, Texas. Somebody came up to me and asked me if I wanted a job at that bar. I told them, I'm a licensed bartender, but somebody might look at my size and see that I'm like black and, a little muscular or whatever. It might feel like I'm a good door guy, because apparently the last door guy, from what he said, word for word, he said the last door guy that was there got beat out of his socks.
Jeez.
So I was like, sure, I showed up for the job or whatever. At some point, like, the manager that hired me and the one that I was always in contact with ends up getting fired and leaving me with a bunch of college kids to be in charge of me or whatever. So make the long story short, the managers, the little college kids or whatever, for whatever reason, they just start spreading rumors and like putting out these weird narratives about me. Mind you, none of them know me. The only thing they know is I just moved here from California. So it was, come to find out, it was just a lot being said behind my back, and I was just confused because for a while before that happened, because for like 2 weeks, I was trying to figure out why everybody that I worked with was looking at me funny, or some people was acting cool with me in private, but then like acting weird towards me in public. And no matter what, like I always ended up being isolated, even on my days off when I would come to the bar and drink. Anyway, the manager that I stayed in contact with ended up getting fired. He said that they put a bunch of lies and shit on him, and I didn't really take him seriously, but I chilled this guy in person. I only known him for a few days, so I can't defend him. But anyway, so I'm fired, and I go on about my business. I go get another job or whatever. It's not a big deal, but I'm still pissed because I got fired. Oh yeah, the reason I got fired is because I called out one time and they fired me after that one call out, which I thought was hella weird, because I never been to a job that had like a no call out policy. And then I've also been to this bar several times.
A lot of jobs have like a thing where if you call out in the beginning, like, I don't know, the first couple of weeks, some places will get rid of you unless it's like an emergency or something.
Afterwards, and hearing the drama amongst the employees about other people calling out, and they still work there. So anyway, fast forward back to where I was, because I got some important shit to tell y'all about what happened on the night that the Aggies played the Longhorns. So I meet a group of people at Cain and Abel's. One of the guys, he played dumb every day, like he don't remember me. Like I met this guy like 8 times. He keeps saying like, "Who are you, dog?" So it gets to the point where, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a real nigga. Like, I don't like to a certain point, it's fucking disrespectful. It is. So there's one guy. He looks black, but he ends up being like Panamanian.
This is why I had a really hard time following him the first time, and I just had to like stop listening, because he's just,
and some other race or whatever. The fact that his wife was cool as shit. Know when a job might be already ready to fire you, even though I had only been there for a week, and so I still been being cordial, coming back to the bar or whatever, still every night, just because it was a chill spot to go have a couple drinks, and a couple of the bartenders were giving me drinks for free. So I thought it was a cool spot to go there, hang out with them a couple more times. The Panamanian guy with the long hair, you know, like to me, he has really dark skin. So I'm looking at him like, you know, this guy's black. Yo, they show up. The whole gang shows up one night at Cain and Abel's, and I'm hanging out with them, and it turns out to be a really good night because that's when, as I was vibing with them, I realized I'm like, okay, like I like this crowd. The fucking ladies leave. They leave early. Don't know where they went. Me and the other two, the guy that with bad memory loss and the Panamanian guy are still at the bar. Still good vibes. Everything good. At some point, we're like, oh, like, let's go to the next spot. We're gonna go to the next spot. That's what we started talking about. I'm like, where y'all going? They're like, shit, we going to such and such. Like, you wanna ride with us? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. At that point, I'm lit. You know what I'm saying? I got good vibes. I met some good people finally around my age. I'm 30, by the way. And sorry, I'm trying to get away from people.
It's too much for me.
We getting a fucking freaking guy with bad memory, and he's like, I look up and I'm like, yo, somebody over there fighting. So I look at, we look up, he look up with me. I'm like, yo, look, somebody over there fighting. We both start running towards the bar.
There we go.
Yo, we get up there, it's motherfucking 40, 50 white people standing up talking about, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. Yo, I'm gonna have to continue this. I didn't know this shit was gonna last this long, but I'm gonna continue it in parts.
Honestly, this is like an hour series. Each one is like, 40-minute series maybe.
So anyway, here's the part two. Sorry, y'all, I had to get up.
Okay, I can do this.
Me and memory loss run back to the bar, and I look out, I'm like, yo, I don't know where memory loss went. He always, you're gonna see as time goes on, you're gonna see his character. But memory loss, he fades. I don't know where he at. I just look up.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I think we got the clip. I put the link to his TikTok in the description. Basically, the important part I think that you need to get is that he had heard screaming when he was by the apartment, and get off me, and like some type of what he says struggle or something. That's the whole thing basically. So yeah, I don't know, man. Crazy story. I really hope that they get some type of answers. I think it's kind of tough when it comes to somebody falling off a building like that, whether it's nefarious or suicidal. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off. Thank you so much. I might, if I have a little time, I might jump on the main for a little. Clips for a little bit to cover the politics stuff. I guess, yeah, a little bit of the Candace again, updated. The camera's like driving me nuts. Too much bullshit. I got too many buttons. I can't do buttons. I don't know what I'm doing here. Fuck my life, dude. What? Just put auto. Just leave everything on auto. Fuck it, right? Can't touch this stuff. Auto. Just leave it on auto. Fuck it. All right, guys. So I'll hit you up. Subscribe to the IckedMel Clips page. I hope you guys have a safe Friday. Felony Fridays. People are crazy. People are nuts. I'm gonna go to a little lighting event for a little bit tonight. Be there for 1 or 2 hours for my daughter's kids thing. So I'm gonna do that a little bit in the evening, and keep my eyes peeled. Those people are crazy. People are nuts. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Rose. And Comcast has been amazing. I contacted corporate. That's what actually got things done. The whole calling Comcast and the 15 technicians coming out back to back to back. Corporate called me. A supervisor came out yesterday. 4 people out here. 4 trucks in front of my house. Corporate called me today. It's crazy, but it seems like it's worked. It's been like just almost flawless, pretty much flawless. Crazy. So maybe we're good now. We'll see.